argument in the camp, because what if it hits? And nobody on the roster can sit up here and complain, because if you were hitting how you're supposed to, they probably wouldn't bring them in. So, hey, man, JP and I talk about a lot of different things. I want people to just understand. And there are times when we start talking about professional football players as if they're kids. And the fact that I played, I don't feel sorry for nobody, because you have that opportunity to go out there and do your thing. Now, if I see somebody doing it and killing it, but they just don't like you, I'll say something about it. But if I know you have exceptional talent and you're not producing it on a regular basis, whatever happens at that point. That's the way I feel about it. And I watch people walk around like they're owed something. No. In this profession, you take everything that you want. You have to go out there and kick down the door to get it. And I'm watching dudes pouting and walking around sulking.
Ooh, what's good, Commanders fans? That was B. Mitch going on his yearly rant. He at least goes on about probably 2 or 3 rants each season, probably at least 1 per training camp. The last one, I know he was going in on Ron Rivera. He used to go in on Ron Rivera all the time. And a lot of his rants are warranted. Like, he sees it how he calls it. I mean, he calls it how he sees it. And he saw something he didn't like. So wanted to comment on, I am a little late talking about this situation, but of course, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video and a lot of videos upcoming this season. Make sure you guys sign up with BetUS. First-time users, you get a 125% sign-on bonus, up to $2,000 for your first 3 deposits. Make sure you guys tap in and take advantage of that Terry McLaurin. Take the over on Terry McLaurin's receiving yards of 900 and a half. That's free money right there for sure. So make sure you guys use the link down below in the description. Shout out to BetUS. All right, so shout out to Vino Knows All 3003, commented on my video yesterday, my 53-man roster. He said, you got to comment on these Jahan Dotson rumors, especially after that Brian Mitchell rant. Word is he's pouting at camp, getting pushed by Diami, and that's why he played extended action. So shout out to Vino Knows All 3003. Shout out to him. So about the B Mitch rant. So this is what he said. I mean, you guys heard, I cut it short because he does go on for a while. He goes for about 2 minutes. Shout out to also Let Mo Tell It on Twitter, and he is the host of the Trap or Die podcast as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to him, his podcast, and his YouTube channel as well, for posting the screen recording of that audio and rant from B Mitch. So B Mitch basically says guys are pouting, or somebody's pouting, and people get cut off of body language. So they're having bad body language. They're not going full speed on their reps or in drills, stomping their feet like a petulant child. Also says, if you were really hitting, then they wouldn't bring a guy in. So the guy that they brought in was Martavis Bryant, so everybody's speculating about the wide receivers. He said, sometimes we have to talk about players, grown men, as if they are kids. So basically, most likely he is talking about the wide receiver room. It could be somebody else. JP Finley was also talking about guys returning punts, kind of not taking it seriously, kind of lackadaisical doing that as well. So who knows? But I think everybody is pinpointing Jahan Dotson because he was playing in the second quarter. He bobbled the catch. Didn't have a great season last year. Had a drop against the Falcons. Had a really big drop against the Giants. Had a drop against the Eagles in the first game against the Eagles. And just didn't play well last year. Had an underwhelming season for sure. So a lot of people are pinpointing Jahan Dotson. And De'Ami Brown right now looks like he's ahead of him on the depth chart so far. I know it's preseason, very, very early. But a lot of people are targeting Jahan Dotson. Personally, I don't think it's Jahan Dotson. If I had to pick somebody or whatever, I don't think it's Jahan. I'm not gonna call him a Boy Scout, but I think he's a good guy for sure. I don't think he's gonna pout and whatnot. I think his roster spot is safe for sure. Like, people speculate he's gonna get released. I highly doubt that. And then Serge the Shooter said Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, and Ertz cooked today. Several plays between the three. He also said he did not notice any bad body language out there from Jahan Dotson. That's his take from what he saw. Maybe B Mitch saw something else. I think if you had to pick somebody, maybe it would be Jamison Crowder, because Jamison Crowder, he didn't get any punt return reps. Basically didn't get any reps at all. Like, all it means the Keys got all the reps. And then Davion Davis got all the reps. And then they bring in another receiver, Martavis Bryant, who comes in to compete for a roster spot as well. So it's kind of like, Jamison Crowder might be the guy who's on the outside looking in. If you really think about it there. But like I said, I'm not going to speculate and pick somebody who I think, but Jahan Dotson, he's got to step it up. This is a make or break season for him. It really is. I mean, Ron drafted him before Chris Olave. They made that trade where they traded back. Chris Olave has had a better season or a better career so far than Jahan Dotson. And Jahan Dotson, he basically has to catch the football. Now, one thing I do think that they did not like, and maybe they shouldn't call a screen to Terry and have Jahan block. I think that they did not like the production that they did get from blocking by Jahan Dotson on the Terry screen, where he could have gotten more in the first quarter. Of course, the first series with Jaden Daniels, I think they did not like. If I had to assume something, I hate to assume and stuff because you can make a behind out of yourself if you do assume. But I think they didn't like that, and I think that is a big reason why they brought in Martavis Bryant, because Nick Israelis said Martavis Bryant, first team rep, has a big block on the right side, and they're looking for that. If they do throw a screen to Terry, they want to trust and have somebody that they can rely on to go out there and block. Of course, you need a receiver to get downfield and catch the football, but if they have a guy that can go out there and block, I don't think Martavis Bryant is going to be the roster. Looking at his route running yesterday and some of the tapes, I know he wasn't going full speed, but he did look like he was like route running like Spencer James a little bit from All-American. Like he's not going to create a lot of separation at this point. We'll see. I want to see him in a preseason game. But to get back to Jahan Dotson, let's look at his route tree, man, from 2022. I know it feels like eons ago, but the talent is still there. The talent is still there. I think Jaden Daniels can get it out of him. And, of course, first and foremost, Jahan Dotson has to go get it. He has to catch the football. No more concentration drops. You got to finish plays. You got to finish plays. And I think last year, mentally, like when Eric Bieniemy, like if he made one mistake, Eric Bieniemy was taking him out. That was the thing right there. One mistake, one drop, Eric Bieniemy wasn't going back to him. Where Scott Turner, if he made a drop or made a mistake, he kept going to him, and he was more of a red zone target and a red zone threat within Scott Turner's offense. 7 touchdowns. Like I said, it doesn't grow on trees. The rookie year had a great year. I think he can get back to that. I really do. I think he's talented enough to get back to that. I really do. You look at the route tree that he ran in his rookie season, how good of a job he did. The post route, 80%. Corner route, 83.3% success rate. Comeback route, 94.1% success rate. Curl routes, 86.7% success rate. And the slant route, 79.2% success rate. And screen routes were 100% success rate. Other routes, 71.4%. So his route tree was really, really, really good. If he can get back to that and get back to that form, that he could be a really, really good number 2, a really good number 3 in this league. And then, Ron Rivera draft picks, you look at all these guys, they're on the chopping block. I mean, they're on. I'm not going to say they kind of are. Like Jamin Davis is, Percy Butler. I think he'll make the roster, but we'll see. Fadarian Mathis has to earn it. A lot of guys from that previous regime, they just got to go out there and earn it. And that's with everybody. That's with everybody. So Jahan Dotson certainly is put on notice. This is a make or break year, but I just don't like how the fan base is turning on him and acting like he's Josh Doxson out there. Now, Josh Doxson, that was a guy where he earned getting cut. He needed to be released. And then after that, he wasn't in the NFL after that. He was in the NFL like one more year, and that was it. So Jahan Dotson, I still think the talent is there, and he had a good practice the other day too. So I think he will be fine. And then Dan Quinn did comment on it yesterday. He he said that I think we're in the middle of that competition at wide receiver and trying to find out slot and inside and outside. So moving guys into different locations, that's a big piece of it. And you'll see more of that this week as well with him and some of the other receivers. So we'll see. And then once again, quick shout out to BetUS. Make sure you guys sign up. 125% signing bonus to first-time users on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Take the over in Terry McLaurin's receiving yards of 900.5 receiving yards. So make sure you guys use the link down below for BetUS. Make sure you guys sign up using that. So then I do want to look at the Dolphins depth chart real quick before we get into the joint practice. We got to see how Jahan does in the joint practice and in the preseason. Now, if he does go out there and drop passes, he did bobble that catch against the Jets. If he goes out there and drops passes, I'm not going to say he's going to be released, but De'Ami Brown definitely will be the go-to guy. Like, the plays will be called for him. Like, they'll be looking for him more than Jahan Dotson. His stock will go down for sure. I'm not saying release. A drastic thing has to happen for him to be released. A drastic, like a couple of drops, like De'Ami Brown dropping passes against the Ravens in the preseason type of thing. But like I said, in practice yesterday, other people said that Jahan did a great job. Jahan's the guy that had the football in his hand, smiling on the jet. Like, I don't see him as a guy sulking and whatnot. I don't think it's to the point where he needs to sulk and cry or whatever and be upset. I don't see it at that point. I don't see him doing that. I don't see him as that kind of person to do something like that either. But looking at the Dolphins depth chart, just guys that I circled that really need to have a good joint practice, in my opinion, or really stand on the preseason. I'll talk about the preseason game probably tomorrow, like a preview or something like that. Or Friday, I'll do a preview because the game's Saturday. But Emmanuel Forbes, man, point blank period. Emmanuel Forbes has to have a really, really good practice, in my opinion, in a good preseason game. Like Tyreek Hill, if he gets cooked by Tyreek Hill, it is what it is. Jalen Waddle, it is what it is. But guys like Willie, I'm looking at their depth chart. Willie Snead was on the Ravens. He had like 1 or 2 good seasons. He had a good season on the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. River Kraft, Anthony Schwartz, Eric Zukanema, Kyrick McGowan is on the Dolphins. He played in the preseason games in the game. Or the backup quarterback, like they got Mike White and Skylar Thompson. Like Skylar Thompson's a good preseason quarterback. And don't get me wrong, Mike White, they're good preseason quarterbacks. So like if those guys go out there and we hear 50-yard bomb by Braxton Berrios or Willie Snead 30-yard catch and run on Emmanuel Forbes, and it's like, bro, okay, you gotta bring in Stephon Gilmore. Like no playing around Dan Quinn, no more playing around Joe Witt Jr., Adam Peters. You gotta bring somebody else in here. You gotta bring some more depth or some more bodies in here, and somebody that can help this team out because Emmanuel Forbes is just not ready. It is what it is on that. Like I said, he had one bad place. He had some other good plays in preseason game, but like if he lays an egg like that again, or just gets beat on a play, or gets beat 3 or 4 or 5 times in practice again, then you got to bring somebody else in here. We got to have a respectable secondary this season for sure. We got to have a respectable season. I wrote down offensive line. That's an easy one. Like, is Brandon Coleman gonna play? Andrew Wiley with tightness, is he gonna play or participate in practice? Jaden Daniels is the obvious one. Get the ball out quick. There's gonna be a pass rush coming at you quick. The Dolphins defense, they ate up our offensive line last year, and Sam Howell, they blew us out. So just get the ball out quick. Calais Campbell is a defensive tackle on the team now. They got David Long at linebacker, Zach Saylor, Benito Jones, Emmanuel Ogbah, Jalen Ramsey at corner. So it's going to be fun to see him battle with Terry McLaurin. How do the receivers play? Like Bryson Tremaine, Mitchell Tinsley, Davion Davis, Jahan Dotson. How does he respond to all these rumors and speculations? Luke McCaffrey, what does he do? Jameson Crowder, already said him. And De'Ami Brown, does he keep up the good practice? He had a pretty good practice against the Jets. He did have a drop in the Jets game, in the Jets practice, but he had a nice one-handed catch. But offensive line, I'm looking at that. Like Chris Paul, he got beat on the clip by their defensive line, the Jets defensive line. I think it was Will McDonald pretty badly. So how does the offensive line do? Do they give Jaden some time? The Jaden connection with Zach Ertz. Cole Turner's been doing a good job. He did a good job in the preseason game. And Quan Martin against Tyreek Hill, do they line him up one-on-one with Tyreek Hill again? Do they make that silly mistake that the previous regime did? So those are some of the things that I'm looking at right there. Jamin Davis, how does he do in the joint practice? So those are some of the names I'm going to be looking at for sure. Tyler Owens and Dominique Hampton at the back, at that last safety spot. So the wide receiver spot will be very, very intriguing. But that's what I'm going to be looking at for the joint practice for sure. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Once again, I think everybody has been definitely talking about the wide receiver situation and Martavis Bryant being brought in, and then who had that body language, we don't know. Maybe it was a defensive player, who knows? But we'll see. I mean, I think these games will be telling for sure. The next preseason game will be huge for this upcoming season. All right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Health Commanders, make sure you guys check out BetUS. Link down below in the description. Health Commanders, peace.